So many people ask me, what are some key signs that a fearful avoidant attachment style is actually healing? In today's video, we are going to cover exactly that. We're going to plug into 6 major signs that you are healing. And my hope for you is that you're going to be able to sort of look at these 6 different categories of life and see where you're making tons of progress and then where you still need support. And if you aren't already secure, exactly what you can do to start really speeding up that process so you can truly build the best relationships of your life. The other way I want this video to hopefully be able to be used is that if you are somebody who is dating a fearful avoidant and you're wondering, is this person healing? Are they growing, or am I seeing this person now and this is who I will get forever because this person isn't doing the work, or what they're trying to do just simply isn't making enough of an impact? So my hope is that you can also use this as a vetting tool if you're dating a fearful avoidant. And we'll start by talking about why healing isn't always going to look the same. So let's just break that down first, and then we'll get into the 6 major signs. Also, if you're new to this channel, my name is Gibson, and I put daily videos out here about attachment styles, the subconscious mind, relationships, how we can really truly transform and change to build the best relationships of our lives. And I've spent more than 10 years in client-based practice and then additional years in our online programs that we have through the Personal Development School, designing, developing, and sharing and teaching them with you. And I'll also have a video coming out about what happens if a fearful avoidant attachment style doesn't heal. What does a long-term relationship look like with them? So stay tuned for that too, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. First things first, healing does not always look the same. This is probably not a popular opinion, but I will tell you it is the truth. Here's our first branch of healing, and there's 3 sort of major camps. First branch is somebody is healing because they're in counseling, therapy, they're seeing a coach weekly. I mean, they actually have that true one-to-one support, and they can go deep and they can really move through things in that way. Everybody can't necessarily afford that, number one. And sometimes we can have, I'll be honest, sometimes I do hear a lot of stories where somebody who's a therapist or a counselor, maybe they're not the best. Maybe it's more talk therapy. And unless we're really getting to the subconscious mind and working to recondition our neural pathways by doing so, then sometimes we can still be stuck. We can get stuck at that informational stage. Oh, we learn something, we recognize our patterns, we gain insight. But what about actually changing and adapting the behavior and habituating it into the subconscious mind so that it's not just insight, right? So that can be one camp. And we have to vet, is that working for somebody, right? Do I actually see active changes in their behavior? That's the most important thing to vet for. And again, you can vet this if this is yourself. Do you see active changes in your behavior, or are you getting stuck at the insight piece? Number 2, you can then look at camp number 2, which is independent learning. Of course, this can be less intensive at times if somebody's not really going deep or plugged into the right tools. Like if somebody's reading a cool mindset book once every 6 months, there's some growth there. The person's obviously interested enough in growth to take the time out of their week. But, for real healing to happen, you want more consistency. So what you're really looking for here is somebody plugged into books? Are they reading books, but then are they taking from the books oh, this is my behavior, this is how I show up, this is what I can do differently? Is somebody taking courses? And, one of the things that I really want to share and am excited about is I was a fearful avoidant attachment style, and all of our courses at the Personal Development School, and I'll just say this super quick, we still have a lot to cover, but all of them are designed to actually leverage the understanding of neuroplasticity and how the subconscious mind works. So you're not just doing personal development, but you actually have tools that target rewiring your neural pathways so you can truly see change in your behaviors, right? So you're looking for stuff like that. And again, if you see somebody doing courses, do you see their behaviors changing? Not just their insights, but are they being more accountable? Are they regulating their emotions better? Are they actually starting to meet their own needs and self-soothe more effectively? Do you see them setting better boundaries, communicating healthier, right? You want to look for these signs. And then we have this third camp. And this third camp is that, and this is the slowest healing camp generally by a lot, but the third camp is that somebody is letting their partner lead by example, okay? Unpopular opinion, but I will tell you, I saw so many clients over the years who would really heal, become securely attached, do the work themselves. I mean, we see it in PDS all the time. And then they heal, and then they show up and they communicate differently to their partner. They ask their partner, hey, what are your needs in the situation? These are mine. They are showing up in a way that's more harmonious, emotionally regulated. They set better boundaries. And a lot of times you'll get a partner who will just follow suit. right? Because who we're around repeatedly conditions us because it's a repetition and emotion that fires and wires those neural pathways and creates that new neural set of networks. And truly, like I'm sure you've all seen listening to this right now, somebody who you've spent a lot of time with, and eventually you take on some of their mannerisms, or you start doing some of the things that they do, or you become slightly more like them and they even become a little bit like you. I mean, that's because conditioning is happening all the time through repeated exposure. But it's also why when we want to change something, we need repeated shifts and changes in behavior over time to really wire those things in. So, somebody can lead by example and somebody can do the work, but are they doing the work? Right. So those are three camps. And for all of these things, you can actually check out the Fearful Avoidant Healing Program or the healing program for each attachment style. That is literally going to be the fastest, most systematic way to plug into healing your attachment style. And also, just for a limited time, just for this month, we actually have a promotion running where you can spin to win. And you can actually click the link below if you want to check it out. And it goes into all of these offers. So you can spin and get like a 7-day free trial or a 7-day free trial plus free course for life that's valued at $250. You can get a 14-day free trial. You can get a free membership. Like all of those things are there. So it's just there for a limited time. You can check it out down below. Now let's talk about the 6 major things when it comes to how we actually heal. Number 1, when somebody starts to heal, specifically fearful avoidance, one of the first places they have to go, in my opinion, like I actually don't know if you can ever become securely attached without working on this if you're FA, specific to fearful avoidance, because they have so much core wounding, right? But one of the biggest things is you have to learn to question your stories and rewire your core wounds. Okay. Your core wounds are your relationship triggers. You can think of them as your relationship baggage. If you grew up with trust issues, you'll have a betrayal core wound. If you grew up with inconsistency or abandonment challenges, then you'll have an abandoned core wound. If you grew up feeling trapped, controlled, powerless, helpless because of chaos, trauma, or being exposed to traumatic experiences, you're going to have trapped, helpless, powerless core wounds. If you grew up in an unsafe environment, you'll have an I am unsafe core wound, right? So, and these tend to be the things that trigger us the most in relationships. You were not born with them. They can absolutely be rewired. And one of the first things that you'll see is like somebody isn't constantly, and fearful avoidants get these big triggers, right? Because they've had big painful experiences in the past. So they come on really strong when they are activated. And you need to, in order to become secure, have the ability to rewire these things. Okay. And have the ability to move through these triggers, know how to regulate yourself, etc. Okay. That's number 1. Number 2, and this is where like, a lot of people do get through to this point on their own. You have to learn your needs. Okay. Your needs in a relationship are really important. Meeting your needs is the primary way that you self-soothe. Okay. Also, you'll learn later that like questioning your stories and working through your triggers in those moments is also a really important self-soothing technique, as is nervous system regulation. But that really brings me to those next 2 of 6 things. Somebody is more regulated because they know their needs. They're actually knowing how to meet their own needs and show up for those things. And their nervous system is more regulated. They're not so flighty, right? You can think of somebody when their nervous system is dysregulated. They're really active in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, which is people-pleasing mode. But when somebody is more regulated, they're more in parasympathetic nervous system mode, aka rest and digest mode. And when we're in parasympathetic, we don't jump to conclusions. We're not as reactive. We're not moving through life from fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, which when you take a look at that, that's painful, right? That's not good to move from fight, flight, freeze, or fawn all the time. So it goes a long way to notice that. The next ones, okay, 4, 5, and 6 here are you can get into a position where you learn once you've worked through your triggers, you know your needs and how to meet them, your nervous system's regulated. So from the outside looking in, if you're dating somebody like this, by the way, those first 3 things that I just mentioned will look like somebody gets triggered less often and gets triggered less intensely if they do get triggered. So the intensity of the triggers go down, but also the frequency. You'll see that they know how to show up for themselves and they enjoy spending time on their own a little bit more. They truly know what they need. They're filling their own bucket in life. Like they're really feeling like they can fulfill themselves, right? And they're knowing themselves. Knowing our needs is a big part of knowing ourselves. And you'll see that they're in more of a restful state when they're in parasympathetic. Okay, so big things there. Then you'll also see that individuals who are healing, fearful ones that are healing, they actually start to set boundaries. Okay. Usually fearful avoidants set boundaries, and we'll call it, false boundary setting because they set boundaries from anger. And if you're setting boundaries from anger, you're not really setting any boundaries. People are just hearing that you're angry. They're not hearing what your boundary is. And so you'll start to see that fearful avoidants become healthily assertive. And this looks like they're able to say, hey, I'm actually not so comfortable with that. Can we do it this way instead? Or oh, you asked me to do this. That's actually not a good fit for me this week. Maybe we'll try next week. Or, oh, you're asking me to take on some extra work. I'm not able to do that right now, but I'm happy to help find somebody else who can, right? You'll hear them. Healthy assertiveness is like regulated, clear, direct. It's not dysregulated. It's not angry. It's also not passive. We always joke on this channel, like fearful avoidants are either passive or aggressive, whereas some people are passive aggressive, right? So you'll see a lot of these different dynamics, okay? We still have two more. You'll start to see fearful avoidants communicate their needs and they actually feel comfortable co-regulating. So they'll say, hey, I had a bad day. I could use some validation. Or, my boss gave me a hard time today. I could just use a little encouragement. Or I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now. I could use a hug. Or, hey, this thing's happening for me with my family. And can you support me? Can you take on this thing that we're doing? It could be at work, it could be a household chore or duty, but like they're able to actually communicate what they need, ask for support, lean on people a little bit. Because traditionally, fearful avoidants are just over giving themselves into oblivion and then getting frustrated and resentful and then icing people out or blowing up. And so these are really important things. And last but not least, you will see as a result of really working through those first 5 things we talked about, fearful avoidants end up being able to actually have healthier behavior. So they're not numbing out, they're not escaping themselves, they're not over relying on creature comforts to supplement their soothing. They're actually feeling like they're coming from a soothed place. They're able to take a situation that feels uncomfortable and say, oh, this is, an uncomfortable situation. Here's what I need. Let me go ask the person. Let me go communicate it. Or, oh, that didn't make me feel good. I need to set a boundary with that person. I'm going to go do that right now. And by doing that, they're able to move through these things in life in a way that's soothing. They're actually soothing means I see that something's upsetting me. I look for the root cause. What's the unmet need? Or what's the painful story I'm telling myself? And we work through those things to go solve for them, right? To go get the need met, to go set the boundary, to go, question the story that we're saying because somebody didn't give us the approval we needed. It means that I'm now unlovable. Wait, is that really true? Or are we just not compatible with that person, right? So we're able to separate those things out. So these are really important cornerstones of healing. And as I mentioned earlier, these are all parts of the Fearful Avoidant program. You can actually check out for absolutely free for a limited time. We also have this really cool promotion that we're doing right now where you can dive in there and you can actually spin to win. And you can win a free course for life. You can win a free membership, a 14-day trial. There's all kinds of cool things in there. And if you're somebody who wants to heal, check out the Fearful Avoidant Attachment Style program. It actually covers those 6 specific pillars we talked about in detail so that you can heal in the most systematic, fastest way possible. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching.